On today's show, the Mavericks finally win a preseason game. What did aggressive Josh Green look like? What do we see from him? Dereck Lively, Kyrie, and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, where we let it ride. That's right. Even in preseason, I'm going to let it ride because we haven't gotten to it yet. When's the last time we let it ride? Honestly.
When's the last time we won?
That's what do you not know when I let it ride? Thanks for being part of the show. Making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know what stood out to you the most, the Mavs' first preseason game. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook partner of Locked On. Make every moment more. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. And joining me, as always and forever, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The piston-powered person, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
First game back for us in the AAC.
Oh, good.
It's always good to be back. It's always wild, starting a new season. It's like, all right, let's do this thing again. Walking in the arena and watching the teams warm up and stuff. And my number one takeaway from tonight: the new Jumbotron is incredible.
It was so bright. I couldn't look at it for very long because I felt like it was so bright in my section.
It is so massive, and when they show highlights and stuff on it, it just looks so good. It's such a good upgrade for the whole arena there. So, shout out.
If you weren't going to Mavs games because of the Jumbotron before, let me tell you, they have fixed that issue for you. That has been fixed.
And the seats look comfortable. I didn't sit in them, but
they were not.
Oh, okay.
Not a fan of the seats. They're like a synthetic plastic instead of like a fabric.
They're plastic.
Like the cover, the cover of the seats. Like when you sit down, the cushion part, that like the thing that holds the cushion onto the seat, it's like a synthetic like plastic.
Okay.
And it's not a fabric. So it really threw me off because I expected.
This is why you're here for Locked On Mavs.
I expected them to be more comfortable, and they were not. Also, last time we let it ride, I think we may have let it ride for a FIBA game for Slovenia, but Sacramento Kings, April 5th. That's the last time we let it ride, April 5th.
Oh my gosh.
I know. That's the last time the Mavs won.
Maybe when Kyrie re-signed.
Yeah, maybe we probably should have, because we probably were like, we got to take him when we can get him. Oh, we've let it ride one time since March.
It's tough.
Tough. Yeah, we'll break down the Mavericks game against the Pistons. We'll talk about that. Talk about Josh Green. Talk about Dereck Lively. Talk about almost triple-double power forward Kyrie grabbing those rebounds. Led the Mavs in rebounding. Mavs lost the rebounding battle tonight. But
did they win?
Let's start with Josh Green. They did win. Let's start with Josh Green. Came out aggressive. I did I did most of the show yesterday about I'm confused why Jason Kidd won't commit to Josh Green in the starting lineup. I got a bunch of pushback and comments saying Josh Green's not the player you think he is. This player tonight that we just saw, Josh Green, this player, 22 points, 3 rebounds, couple steals, 4 threes for him. This is the type of player he showed the flashes in this game that you say, oh, okay, that's the guy that should be a guaranteed starter for the Mavericks, that should be making Jason Kidd make that decision. And we got to see it, and we got to see the flashes, and it was awesome.
Listen, in the last game that you're going to have before the deadline passes for you to sign an extension, which is coming up.
Very true.
It's coming up next week.
3 days, right? 3 days.
Yeah.
October 23rd is the last day that they can sign the extension for Josh Green.
Yeah, so coming up on Monday is that that deadline. This is obviously the last preseason game. So what the best move to do is come out and just ball out. And that first quarter, 15 points for Josh in the first quarter, didn't miss a shot, hit 3 threes. He was flying around everywhere. He looked composed. He looked confident. I mean, yes, that's the him and Derrick Jones Jr. started in this game. Obviously Luka was out. So that's just like, that's the Josh. If like you get that Josh and that confident and playing like that, then yeah, it's no doubt like that he's a starter.
And the difference with Josh Green, and I think it has been, is him being aggressive and not being scared of the moment. Josh is going to have, like there's a guy named Coops on Twitter that's like a big Mavs fan and tweets a lot. It's like, Josh Green has shame. Like he has shame. Like he wants to come back and he'll always fight back, right? When the Mavs team, it seemed like last year, kind of rolled over. Josh Green wouldn't roll over. And he's got that, but then he's also got this like timid version, like version of his game. Like takes me back to playing in the playoffs when he wouldn't take that 3 against Rudy Gobert, right? And then he just dribbled in a circle instead. And it's like that. You can't have that Josh Green. It's second guesses, that dribbles in a circle instead of taking the shot. And this Josh Green did not second guess anything that he did on the court in this one. Like you said, he finished the game with 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, and he was taking pull-up like middies, like pull-up mid-range jumpers too.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is what we need to see from Josh Green. I asked Kyrie about this after the game and said, what's the difference between an aggressive Josh Green and a Josh Green from a different, other game from Josh Green? And he basically just said that, he's got to be more aggressive. That's kind of the thing. But he's like, I'm going to keep feeding that to him. I'm going to keep feeding that to him because that's what he's got to do. And then Kyrie also made a comment about, there's the business and there's the basketball. And I was like, oh, he's talking about the contract that Josh Green is kind of coming up against here, and that motivated him. And so, yeah, I think that it was great to see that from Josh Green, and I think we need to see more of it. And I'm fascinated to see what it looks like with Luka and Kyrie, because Luka was out in this game, and you could see that there's a difference in the way that they played. We'll talk about that, but Josh Green had the opportunity tonight playing like this, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, and I really am curious of what happens, by Monday. What happens, it's a little bit different than the Brunson situation because, he's going to be a restricted free agent if they don't sign him to an extension. So, we know how that works. If you don't, basically Dallas can give him a qualifying offer, make him this restricted free agent. If he signs anywhere else, kind of like DeAndre Ayton did in Indiana, Dallas can immediately match it and all of that. Yep. It never feels like the best of things to get to restricted free agent.
Well, like PJ Washington this offseason.
Yeah, I think it just makes things awkward sometimes. But we'll see what happens, by Monday, and we'll see if an extension is agreed on, and if not, that's something they play with all season.
Speaking of Monday and the Mavs and then the Mavs first game on Wednesday, Luka Doncic, there's no timetable for his return right now. That was kind of a new development that Jason Kidd said before the game. He didn't play in this game against the Pistons, obviously. He said there's no timetable. I mean, we're like how many days away from their first game? Four full off days they'll have between now and then. And so maybe we'll get an update, and hopefully they'll practice one of those days because they're only going to San Antonio, so they don't have to go very far. But I'm fascinated to see what happens if Luka plays. And yeah, I'd like to see what happens. The offense looked different. It's got more flow in it. There was definitely more pace. The more pace thing is something that the Mavericks have been pushing. Jason Kidd's been talking about that all through. Of course, just swigging a big glass of milk right on the podcast. Oh, the throwback to like our first or second year doing this show. Comment below if you think it's weird Isaac's just drinking a glass of milk. No cookies.
Get off me.
No cookies, no brownies, no like nothing. Just drinking a glass of milk.
No, just milk's good.
I had a bowl of Magic Spoon cereal the other day, by the way, and I thought of you.
Whoa.
Because you love that Magic Spoon, right?
Flex. Yeah.
No,
it's great.
You didn't get any. But the style of play was different. There was more flow to it. They had in the first quarter, they had 12 assists to 14 made field goals. And I posted that, and somebody commented, well, the Mavs just made their shots. No, it was different. There wasn't as much ISO ball. There was movement. Everybody was hitting a shot off of a pass and not just trying to get their own shot that we've seen from Luka and Kyrie and some others. It was everybody working together in that sense. And I could tell there was a difference, and I'm curious how much they can continue that with Luka when he comes back. So coming up, let's talk about that. Can the Mavericks blend those two styles? Do we like the style that we saw? What happened in the second quarter when the style didn't work as much? And we'll talk about all that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel has all kinds of props and odds and lines this season for the NFL, the NBA, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you put down $5. Just put down $5. You get $200 in bonus bets on that. First game, the one that we're talking about right now, Mavs versus Spurs. Mavs in San Antonio. Wembanyama blocked a Klay Thompson 3 today. Looked insane. Is doing crazy, insane things. Mavs are a 4-point favorite in that one for the first game of the season. So get in on the action. If you're one of those Mavsikists that just think the Mavericks are going to lose every game, put some money on the +4 then for the Spurs. Go ahead and put your money where your comments are. Go check that out. Again, it's FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NBA season. The NFL season's in full swing. They got all kinds of stuff. They even have Rangers odds if you are so inclined and want to go there.
They play better on the road.
Yeah, they apparently do. This is like the Mavs Clippers series from a couple years ago. Check it out. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. I did it again.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
I hit the outro twice already in this episode. The button is right next to it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day, and listening on game days as well. We'll do every single post game as well as Monday through Friday throughout the year. I mean, we don't ever stop. It never stops. If you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us on Mavs Rumors. I was doing all kinds of stuff during the game today. I'll send the watch back video where I'll watch back a quarter. I think everybody voted on the first quarter, so I'll watch back the first quarter, point out things that I noticed, stuff from Dereck Lively, stuff from Josh Green, and all that, and I'll send the link up to the video in the subtext, right to your text. So subscribe to it if you want to get access to that kind of content as well. All right, Isaac Harris, what do you think about the different styles of offense? It was really apparent to me today that without Luka, they play this faster, the ball flows a little bit more. But with Luka, it's still very efficient offense, right? So,
I was gonna say, I think we have to be careful with the that one is like better than the other, or it's like bad. It's just a different style. I honestly think sometimes like this free flowing, faster paced offense is more fun to watch. It's like more entertaining style of basketball for like the casual fan.
And it's different than what we've seen for the last like 4 or 5 years, right? So I get that. I get when fans are excited about seeing something like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that when Luka's in there and the pace slows down, that it's bad or inefficient. I mean, you go back to, LeBron's whole career. Like LeBron is really similar to Luka in the sense of, let me orchestrate everything. Let me dissect the defense. Let me be the quarterback and kind of do my thing. And that's where Luka's in the same, lane as that. So it's not I think we have to be careful with that we see something like this and we say, man, it's so much, it's so different. They're getting out, they're running and all of that. I think there was even a question tonight. I could be wrong, but I think there was a question like, hey, how do we get this going when Luka's back, type of thing. And it's like, yeah, it would be nice to like mix it in for sure. And I think it would be more entertaining to see get out and run and stuff more, but it doesn't necessarily mean, it maybe that's my new target. Pace matters.
Pace doesn't matter, or pace.
I don't think it's the end all and be all of like, hey, just because you play at the fast pace means that you're going to win the game.
Year by year, this man is taking down tenets of basketball. Rebounds gone, pace gone. Doesn't matter. Next year it'll be the free throws. Free throws don't matter. It'll be whoever else. But I think we saw in this game the benefits and the downfall of this type of style. Just like you're saying, that was going to be my point coming in too, is that the Luka ISO ball is efficient, and it's the really efficient offense. The Mavericks have had incredible offenses when Luka plays that style. They do it because it works. I do think there are some benefits, and you saw that in the first quarter where the ball's moving around, guys are getting touches, they're getting threes, different guys are getting opportunities, Dereck Lively's doing the dribble handoff thing, and so then Josh Green gets to get the ball on the move and do stuff like that. Like that stuff is good for an offense. The Mavericks need that, and they've tried to add some elements of that with doing off-ball screens and starting Luka off the ball. And they've tried to incorporate some of those things into the Luka ISO ball. But then what happened in the second quarter? Second quarter, play started breaking down. They had 6 turnovers in the quarter, and they didn't hit their threes. They didn't hit their shots. and they only scored 19 points. So it's like, you see the benefits in one quarter, in the first quarter, where they're hitting a bunch of threes, the ball's moving around. Second quarter, they turn the ball over, nobody's really taking over, and there's not really efficient offense happening because the ball's just going around everywhere, and nothing's actually happening,
Yeah, and that had a lot to do with Kyrie wasn't on the floor. I mean, no Luka, no Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy is
second quarter. Kyrie played almost 10 minutes, so he was.
Okay.
I mean, he was out there.
Well, it's just there were some lineups at times where it was like, wait, I was laughing about it in the press box. I'm like, who's supposed to create in this lineup right here?
Yeah,
and it's a lineup with like Derek Jones, Lively, Grant, and
Seth
it was like
Tim.
Yeah, it was like Seth and Josh or something like. And it's like, well, who in the heck is supposed to create any offense with that? So they're a little limited on the offensive creation tonight, but they still put up a lot of points because they kept the ball moving.
Yeah, so those styles, I think we're going to talk about those all year, right? Well,
yeah,
one of us will, but
both of us will.
We both will. You over there, me over here,
just not together.
Oh, the sadness. No, you'll come back. You'll come back on I'll have you on as a guest for sure. But the two different styles, we're going to talk about those all season because we even saw it last year. Kyrie likes to play that style. I think Kyrie plays the game right, man. Like he's going for loose balls. He's getting rebounds. He's making the right pass. He's not holding on to the.
He finished with tonight 11.
I was gonna say he almost had a triple double. He was 2 rebounds away from a triple double. 22 points. Or no, he finished with 17 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 0 turnovers. But with him, he's got to be a little more aggressive, especially when, and he mentioned that tonight. He's like, I had to realize where I need to be more aggressive on this team, and that's what the team needs in this moment. But this game, maybe in the second quarter he could have been a little more aggressive, but they got what they needed in this one.
Yeah, and his play with Dereck Lively, and I think Lively tonight, besides Josh Green, he remains the. I would argue say that. Dereck Lively's been the story of the preseason for Dallas. If you're talking about number one storyline,
besides Luka's injury,
yeah, but number one storyline for Dallas for this like collective, preseason has been the center position, and Dereck Lively as this rookie kind of just taking it and just like, I got this. And tonight he didn't show anything that would prove you otherwise. I mean, defended the paint, set some, had some chemistry, moments with Kyrie, catching some lobs. Even just getting the ball around the basket, had a little floater at one point. I was like, all right, Rashawn Holmes. Well, who are you? And, had that ball down underneath the goal when he went up backwards and just dunked on like 2 people. I was like, whoa, this is pretty wild. So right now he feels like he's doing a lot of things well, and he's kind of just minimizing the mistakes.
Yeah.
And, it's not like, all right, he's all-star out there or anything, but that's what you ask of him, right? Like if he plays like that, I'm so happy because everything, like you're asking him to do these things. He's doing them well. He's not making a ton of mistakes, and he's staying on the floor. So I was really happy with him again tonight.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why we were so high on him and him on the Mavericks, and why you early on in the offseason were like, he's got to start. They've got to start him because his role is going to be so specific. And it's exactly what he does. It's set pick and rolls. They did a lot of dribble handoff stuff with him today because he is a good passer. He'll make passes out of the short roll. And there was a play for him in high school when he was talking to Mark Followell on the podcast recently. Yeah. And he said his high school coach, when his high school coach realized that he was coaching the best player he'd ever coached before, was when Lively made like a pass out of the short roll to the corner. And you're like, oh man, that's like a pass. That's an advanced pass that nobody makes. And so Lively does have a little bit of a playmaking. He had 2 dribble handoffs, one to Josh, and I think the other one was to Kyrie or somebody else, but he had 2 assists early in this game. He had the 5 rebounds, finished with 14 points, a bunch of them on dunks. That floater that you mentioned really caught me off guard. I don't know if I've seen that from him at Duke or here in the NBA, obviously, yet. But if he's got that, I mean, that changes some things. That changes all the stuff we talked about with Rashawn Holmes having that push shot and changing the gravity of a Luka Kyrie or a Luka Lively and a Kyrie Lively pick and roll. Like him having that shot may change things. And I think eventually he'll add the 3. I don't even think they're asking him to do that this year. I hope we get one. I hope we just get one like good made.
He'll take a couple.
Dereck Lively 3. But
if Boban can take a couple, he'll take
I know that Wiseman played like 10 minutes. Bagley played 13 minutes, scored on him twice, but he only made one other basket. I know that Jalen Duren, who Lively played against in high school, and said he played with him since 7th grade, which was kind of cool.
Played with in high school, yeah.
Which was cool. He played 16 minutes, but I think Dereck Lively outplayed all three of them.
Yeah.
And they were all higher picks. Maybe Jalen Duren wasn't?
It's right around the same, 12, 13,
Yeah,
I think.
Duren was the 13th pick. So, I mean, all top 15 picks. Two of them top 2 picks, and Lively, I think, outplayed them all tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not impressed with anything Wiseman really does at all on the basketball floor. So Dereck Lively, I think, is clearly better than him. Real quick, Pistons thing for a second. I love Asar Thompson next to Cade, and
he's leaping, man. That dude.
It's like they might not have to pick, but I would hands down pick Asar Thompson next to Cade over Ivy. And can we get some shooting around Cade? Because I just don't. There's some lineups out there that I'm just like, who's shooting the basketball? And they should just like. There's a reason why Dallas is trying to surround Luka with all these shooters, and it feels like Detroit's trying to do the opposite. So
this literally Kuka Hill, Locked On Pistons, has been asking for this all summer, and he just did an episode the other day that I listened to where he said, "Can we get him some help? Can we get Cade any help?" And you're like, wait, what does he mean by that? Like they've drafted guy, and he's like, they have no shooting. they have no.
I mean, Bojan's a good shooter, but
Bojan was out in this game, so he was out. Joe Harris, I guess, he'll play, and he was out in this game as well. But yeah, when you play Asar Thompson, when you play even like Killian Hayes, and then when they put Isaiah Stewart at the 4, like you're really cramping the space.
Duren.
Grant Williams. Oh, can I say something that drove me nuts today? One of the first plays of the game. Isaiah Stewart is out on the 3-point line. He gets a pass, and he has the ball. Grant is like he's supposed to be way off of him because you don't have to step up and guard Isaiah Stewart, face guarding him.
He can shoot a little 3.
And he closed out so hard that he ran past him. And I was like, you don't have to close out that hard on Isaiah Stewart. And then he went 1 for 4 for the rest of the night from 3. Made 1, but clanked the other ones.
Grant didn't have a great moment either guarding Asar Thompson. There was a moment Asar broke his ankles. Or actually, he didn't even break his ankles because I don't think his ankles moved. He just like was just standing there. And I was like, wow, Asar is like a different type of athlete. But anyway.
But then he took a charge, which was great.
Yeah.
Love to see take a charge. And then he got a block on Asar Thompson. So he got him back.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And Luka and everybody came off the bench when he got that block, and it was a good block. Grant.
That's like his 3rd or 4th like packed against the backboard, like pinned to the backboard block. And you just don't think of Grant Williams as that kind of guy because
I don't think they think it is either. That's why they challenge.
They don't see it coming. They're like, oh, who is this guy? And all of a sudden, the ball's against the backboard.
Can we talk about the game plan that Tim Hardaway had tonight?
Pull.
I was like, it's like, he went to some Wings preseason games, and he's like, Enrique, hold my beer whenever our season starts, because the Tim Hardaway Enrique shots, they're even like dribble stuff at times where I was like, dude, it feels like you and Kyrie just worked on these dribble moves. And I said like yesterday, and you're like, dude, I'm going to do this thing tomorrow.
It was as if he watched our video of interviewing all the Mavericks, who's the best shooter on the team. And he heard his name so many times. He was like, that's right. It's me. That I was sitting next to a couple of scouts, and there's one that like, he heard me scoffing every time Tim took a pull-up 3, and he looked over at me. He's like, why does he keep doing that? And I'm like, yeah, like his any catch and shoot shot he takes, I feel good about, right? Even if it's off the move, he's so good at that kind of stuff. The catch and shoot, the coming around a screen, a pin down, whatever. Like I feel good about any of those type of shots.
Or even like a dribble, like a 1 or 2 dribble, like pull up, something like that.
Yeah, the relocation ones. But like when he's dribbling into a shot or just like pulling up from 30 something, I'm like, what? It's just not his game. Yeah, what did he go? 1 of 7. No, he went 4 of 13 in this game, 2 of 9 from 3.
Yeah.
Oof.
It just, felt a little bit extra. I mean, Tim always has the green light in it with confidence, but felt a little extra green tonight.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I don't like those plays very much. Your boy Omax got a moment.
Yeah, he did.
Dude, that three he took at the buzzer, like right by the Mavs bench, was wild.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I love Omax. That Lively had a good quote after the game when talking about their friendship and stuff and them being brothers. And he's like, dude, Omax he's in the gym more than he is his house. Just talking about how much he's been in the gym and stuff.
And he knows that because they live in the same building. So
I thought, it was a chance for us to see Derrick Jones Jr. start tonight. He started and guarded Cade. And, that was two things with him that is the question mark about him starting is if he starts, then he's starting in the Josh Green spot, which means, all right, they believe in him being able to guard opposing point guards. Was that just hey, they wanted a bigger body on Cade, or is he fast enough to guard the Lillard, Stephs, and all those guys of the world? Also, the outside shot tonight. What about those 3-pointers by Derrick Jones Jr.?
He hit two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing with him is like, all right. I mean, if you can hit the three, I mean, it's a pretty slow release, but still, you're going to be the guy. It's kind of, Bobby and I were talking about in the game. It's kind of like the Dorian role of, they asked Dorian to guard some of these opposing point guards, and then he's going to be the guy that gets left open in the corner all the time by opposing teams, and you got to be able to make them, pay for that. So can he be what Dorian ended up being? That's the kind of the question, for him.
Well, I think the thing with him and Dorian is length. Like if you can't be super fast on a point guard, and even in today's NBA, I don't know if you want to be super fast on defense. Like if you can have length,
Luka's like yes,
but if you can have length, then you can recover and you can cover more ground, right? I guess you've either got one of the two: the speed to cover ground, or the agility to cover ground and change directions, do all that, or just the length to be able to come around screens and contest shots that other people wouldn't be able to. And he's got the length to do that. So if you just kind of smother the player, especially a player that tries to do the herky-jerky stuff like Cade does. Cade shook so many Mavericks out of their shoes today.
I love Cade.
Like,
yeah. So high on him. Yeah.
So anything else?
Not really. I mean, I really liked Kyrie's game tonight. I know we already talked about it, but kind of just being the floor general, trying to pick his moments and all that. Josh and Dereck Lively, I think, were the stories of the game. Exum had 17 minutes in the game. It feels like you saw a little bit of the rotation tonight. Luka's, I say that kind of because Luka's going to take a lot of those minutes, but seeing some of that second unit of Tim and Dante and Maxey, the Maxey Dwight Seth trio.
Yeah.
I wonder how many trios played together like 7 years ago, and then there's like a 7-year, like it's like what year is this that they're on the floor together? I'm like, what? Who else?
It's like if Boban and Tobias Harris ever get back together.
They played together before Tim even got here, and Tim's been here 6 years.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Yeah, they showed on the Jumbotron. They showed the what was it? Oh, the "You Need to Cut It," like that's that song, but like "You Need Curry." They had like that parody of that song, and all those clips were so old of Curry like getting threes and steals, and all the players were nudging him and joking with him and laughing on the bench when they played that video again. That brought me back. That brought me back to like 2016 when we first started covering the Mavs.
Oh, that's what it was.
There you go. Let us know in the comment section who stood out to you the most. I'll do a watch back on Subtext, so subscribe and make sure that you get that content as well. We'll be back on Monday. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom! Now here's the intro for real this time.